And here we are, your Lord God Octopus, Shadow Octopus990, and here we are doing a impromptu react to DSP being uncomfortable with a female game characters compilation produced by Mighty D, a fairly excellent detractor, and here we are. We'll react to that, and it'll be a blast, I hope. Anyway.
Back to the city. Who's this? There's another new character?
Yes, this would be Rachel. She was in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, or Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma. I don't think Phil ever played this version of Ninja Gaiden. I don't think really Phil has played much of the Ninja Gaiden series. I think he did play the original versions of the game on Xbox 360 and probably the PlayStation, but I don't think he played them at any length. And now he's confused by Rachel's appearance in this game, and obviously you'll see later on her attire.
We're 8 chapters in, there's new characters. What is going on with this game? And this one has no clothes on, apparently.
She does have clothes, Phil. It's just she's wearing a revealing outfit.
What the hell is she wearing?
This is going nowhere.
You can definitely tell this is from a different era of gaming. They don't.
Yeah, a very different era of gaming, Phil. They've had female characters like this the whole time throughout the gaming industry. From the 90s through to like now. I don't think it's ever changed all that much. The only thing that's really changed in the last 4 years or so is the whole DEI crap that has been happening. However, Phil seems to be quite unnerved by the fact that like Rachel is quite sort of clad in this outfit, and so he's going to have a problem with it.
They don't have this in games anymore.
It's like they're swarming up on the depths.
What is going on? Whenever you go into combat, be sure to have no clothes on. It's very effective.
Cackle uncomfortably like a twat. Go for it, Phil.
Can you tell you? All the enemy attacks will bounce off your body if you're completely new. You know.
Well, I would assume, like, game lore-wise, because Rachel has the blood of fiends in her body, she's obviously got far more superhuman abilities than the average person, so therefore it culminates with her being probably far more protected despite that outfit she's wearing, and her able to wield like powerful weapons such as that massive hammer. Yet Phil, because he's an unimaginative soul, has a problem with it because he thinks it's not realistic. It's not supposed to be realistic, Phil. I mean, you're literally playing as a character beating the shit out of demons. And demons, as far as we know, are not real. So, Phil, looking for realism in a game where realism is not the point, obviously doesn't seem to understand like what the hell he's looking at.
You know, be sure to wear as few clothes as possible, so that way when you're slaughtering demons, your body gets covered in bile and guts and all kinds of shit.
Well, it would wash off.
I think the previous character, the Shrine Maiden with the spear, was cool. This one's kind of bizarre.
Well, Momiji, the Shrine Maiden, she wore a fairly similar outfit. It was just more or less like a kimono and hakama, just modified to like bare her hips and show off her shoulders, back, and cleavage. She's a little bit different to Rachel, but not that much more.
Who the fuck is she? Why does she have no clothes?
And honestly, the attitude the characters have for their own attire is fairly nonchalant. They obviously don't necessarily care about what they're wearing. Clearly they are wearing them for maybe mobility and whatnot, as is like Ryu Hayabusa wearing his like super tight black outfit. It's clearly for mobility and sacrificing protection for that mobility.
Remember before the days of DEI, when
But obviously these characters have some sort of key powers or probably some sort of superhuman physique that would allow them to tank blows from demons, whereas like a normal person, if they were to wear the same thing, they would probably get ripped to shreds.
or like intestines, blood,
But
and feces.
Phil can't seem to process this because he's clearly, like I said, an unimaginative soul. And so he doesn't think of these things, and he thinks only in terms of like the mundane and what is in front of him. He really is like a dull beast. Really, he is.
Feces could be slathered against a naked body in a video game and no one cared. Yes. Here she is.
No. All of that shit you said, Phil, has never happened. Not in any AAA title, and definitely not also in any indie title that has ever been presented on PlayStation or Xbox. You might find some PC games that are maybe like that, but they are very few and far between.
alternate color, and I have no idea what that's supposed to be. What the holy hell? Hell was that?
Of course, that would be Malice. She was part of a 1970s run of Fantastic Four, and the character Malice came out of Sue Storm's frustration over being ignored and I think also underappreciated by her husband Reed Richards. And so the character Malice basically came out of Sue Storm's anger towards that sort of situation. So she wore an outfit very similar to that. However, that's presented differently because obviously the developers had their own idea of what they wanted her to look like in that particular outfit. And Phil, because it has some stomach bearing and probably also hips and whatever else, has a problem with it because Phil has turned into a prude, obviously in knee-jerk reaction to the fact that he was slapped hard for his stupid sexual jokes that he made in various playthroughs he did in the past, which culminated in I think This Is How You Don't Play by Evil AJ 2010, legendary detractor by the way, and yeah, he has definitely felt he suffered for it when he clearly should have either rolled with it or toned down the humor in some ways to be as less offensive as he possibly could, but while still being cleverly humorous. Clearly it can be done.
A trip to Pound Town?
That doesn't mean what you think it means.
No.
Don't ever say that again.
No.
What?
Hey, what you got there? Who knows? An ad for a sex shop or something.
More stupid shit.
Give it.
Says the cow feeder shithead. He's like bipedal livestock. And like I will absolutely maintain throughout this whole video is that Phil is an absolute troglodyte and an unimaginative soul who can't possibly perceive anything beyond what he friggin' looks at. So he'll sit there in complete ignorance and make judgment calls without ever analyzing the connotations or context of what he's looking at.
Here.
Oh my god, this guy's an
Yo,
idiot.
hold on.
He's an idiot.
First person to call.
First port of call of an idiot is to call others idiots when he doesn't understand the situation of what he's looking at.
Idiot.
Sedge.
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh god, I'm offended, guys. That is so terrible. And if I don't pretend to look like I'm offended by this, I will lose my audience. And I'll get mogged on again. And then I'll lose my revenue. Because that's what Phil is most terrified of, is losing his revenue. He's been deeply afraid of that since day one of the whole detractors mogging on him.
A brothel. This is crime, pure and simple.
Is it illegal in Japan?
Prostitution is illegal in Japan. Prostitution is illegal in most parts of the world, Phil. The only reason why...
Crime.
Is this illegal in Japan? And if not, how the hell is it so rampant?
right? For a while.
And the reason it's rampant, Phil, is because people have sexual needs they must fulfill. And if they're not going to do it one way, they're going to do it multiple other ways. One of them being prostitution. Just Phil seems to not understand this. And I guess it was the whole jerking off incident. When he left his camera on. He was like, before he started playing like Neo. He ended up like, apparently masturbating in front of his camera. He highly denied it. Vehemently denied it. And he got mogged on for it, and I think that made him terrified of more repercussions.
While it's a lot of sexualized content and humor. For me, like, I'll take some of that, but for me it was like, it got overbearing. It was so much of it. My wife felt the same.
I don't think your wife feels the same as you at all, Phil. I think she has her own ideas. It's just that you don't even talk to her, and you probably don't even interact with her much, if at all. I'm getting the feeling, and to be honest, I don't think you want to get involved in ribald or sexual humor because, like I said, like the point I made before, you're absolutely destroyed for it, and now you're twice scared of it.
You get reborn as a sexy lady.
Ready when you are.
No.
What's wrong with being a sexy lady, Phil? What's wrong with anybody wanting to be a sexy lady if that's what they wish, you know? I'm not against that kind of thing, but it's just I couldn't agree with it. Obviously, Phil won't agree with it. And yeah. Obviously, like, people have got their own ideas about what they want to do and how they want to live their life. It's just, I think Phil seems to have his idea of like what life is and how it should be lived, and he wants to impose that on everybody else, even though he will vehemently deny that.
Oh my, that's me? There seems to be something directing my attention. I'm not sure what it is, but there seems to be some green glistening in my eyes. Oh! I'm sorry, I was distracted a little bit.
And watch this breathtaking idiot try to be as clever as possible. See, when a moron tries to be glib, he doesn't actually get the whole point of being glib. It's to basically, you know, deliver like clever, witty, and pithy one-liners, you know, to encapsulate the situation. However, this idiot just does a stupid voice, rambles on, and then pretends like as if that's clever.
I can't believe I'm sorry. Does anyone care about the story of this game? Can we?
Obviously they might, Phil. Otherwise they wouldn't play the game. It's like, I doubt anybody's just playing this game just for like the fact that the main character Eve is attractive in Stellar Blade. And she has nicely shaped buttocks and thighs. I don't think that's in the entirety of the case. I think it might have been the entry point. But I think as like the game progresses, I think the satisfying combat from what I've seen of it and everything else are just part of like what makes the full sort of experience like what it is. It's very similar to like Nier Automata, which actually is a very satisfying to play game and actually has really excellent combat and different combat scenarios that are very interesting. And 2B, the main character, was very similar to Eve here. She's super attractive, like android or some sort of being who Phil, like, obviously also made fun of too in his playthrough of Nier Automata when he was, you know, still doing all that sexual jokes around about, I think it was 2014 or so, when he did play like Nier Automata. And yeah, he was, you know, kind of being an idiot about it. It's very similar to that.
To be real, does anyone give a crap about what's going on? We know what people are playing for. You might as well just do a one focus shot the entire game
You played this sort of game before, Phil. I don't know what your problem is.
at the central quadrant of the game off of those two holly jolly jingle balls. That's all you need.
I'm sorry, that game is fucking stupid.
Oh, but it's so good. It's game of the year.
Yeah, look at the bitterness on this idiot's face as he complains about it.
The game of the fucking year, if you fucking are, you know, into that shit when you like the visuals and shit, which is exactly what the game developer said. I can't believe he literally outright said, I'm making the main character based off of a Korean supermodel that people will play the game. He literally said that.
Jill.
Yeah, because clearly fucking Kim Hyung-tae, actually the CEO of Shift Up, clearly knows what his audience likes. Because if you didn't know already, Shift Up were the developers behind Nikkei Goddess of Victory, and if you understand or know what Nikkei Goddess of Victory is all about, the visuals of Eve are fairly self-explanatory. As to whether you have a problem with it or not is completely up to you, but I would not take Phil's word for it, because clearly Phil doesn't know what he's talking about. And clearly Phil is not a mature person.
Holy shit, I'm looking down. It's bigger than mine. Look at the size of that eggplant down there.
As you see here.
Don't worry.
I never knew.
It is.
So she's giving him the power of Shiva. Of course, they had to be nude to do this, right? Very important for them to be naked. I know.
Yes, but it's tasteful nudity, Phil, and it's not sexualized. You don't see anything that you would consider it to be incredibly sexualized, and it's more of to show the love and trust that Jill and Clive, the main characters of Final Fantasy XVI, have for each other. And so obviously, like, being nude is a point of vulnerability for most people, because, you know, it's partly because of, like, body image and, you know, being uncomfortable or comfortable with your body image. And not only that, it's, you know, the whole situation of being nude or naked is a fairly sort of uncomfortable point for a lot of people, because they obviously have some hang-ups about it. But that's generally due to conditioning from society and, like, our own personal, like, experiences in life. Plus, generally, we're conditioned to, like, cover ourselves up because of, like, we need to protect our bodies from the elements, obviously, because, like, you know, generally, like, if we're out in the sun, we need to cover up because, you know, our skin will burn. We need to cover up during winter times because, you know, we'll freeze and get cold, obviously. But being nude with somebody is obviously a point of, like, trust that you'll show your vulnerability to another person. Because Phil is a troglodyte, he doesn't understand any of this.
You know, Spider 12 says they're so desperate to try to show them naked, but they know they can't actually show them naked in the game, so look how lame all this is. It's fucking stupid. It's being risque for the sake of being risque, so people will talk about how there's these nearly nude scenes in Final Fantasy that serve...
No, I don't think anybody talked about this. I don't think it was even mentioned. The only reason people may have mentioned it is because you brought it up. I think actually people did praise this when they did mention it. I don't think it was a point of contention at all. But because you're an immature piece of shit, Phil, obviously you're gonna pick up on this and pick on this and say this is like bullshit, when clearly you don't understand the whole theme behind it.
Literally no purpose whatsoever. They could be fully clothed in this scene, it would be exactly the same fucking scene and have the same meaning. They're doing it on purpose because they're lame, basically.
They're not doing it on purpose because they're lame, Phil. They're showing the vulnerability between Clive and Jill. Clive obviously being a warrior, and he wears armor, and obviously he goes out to fight. It is doubtful in the society they live in that anybody would go out to fight in the nude. And so therefore, him displaying nudity in front of Jill and vice versa for Jill towards, like, Clive, obviously they're showing a moment of vulnerability towards each other and trust. that both will like protect one another.
They're lame-os. No, like literally no one cares about this shit in the game. Everyone just cringes.
Okay, if nobody cared about this shit in the game, then obviously they would have not brought it up. But you brought it up, Phil. If you didn't care about this, you wouldn't bring it up. You'll just let the scene play out, watch it, maybe make your thoughts known about it later on, but you did that now. And this makes you look like a worse person because of it.
Is fucking stupid as fuck. They're so lame in this game. They fucking missed the mark so bad.
I promise you, Jill, there will be nothing interesting in this game. We're trying really hard to make sure this game has nothing of any importance.
Because Phil is such a deeply unappealing person in terms of personality, and if you're going to be superficial about it, looks too, but he's just a deeply unpleasant person that, like, he's obviously jealous about what's going on here. Because Clive is obviously a very handsome man, and Jill is a very beautiful woman, and they obviously have deep feelings for each other. I don't think Phil has ever experienced that in his entire life, and so therefore his jealousy is coming out. And I think he's going to, like, downplay and also, like, you know, make fun of this situation, as well as, like, deeply, like, criticize this situation, when really there's no criticism to be made.
Find a way.
Please forget this game after it's over.
Oh
No
my
matter
god.
what, you must become.
Stupidest scene. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Is it meaningful? Is it supposed to be like drama between two characters? Is it supposed to be...
Yes, it is supposed to be drama between two characters. It's like, clearly freaking Jill and Clive are in love with each other. They've grown up together, from what I understand, seeing of the game. Clearly grown up with each other as, like, children into adulthood, and now this is a culmination of that relationship.
You know, because they're pushing it with the nudity. It's supposed to be arousing. Well, what is the scene supposed to be? It's bad on all fronts. That's what we got out of this scene. That's literally it. And then I guess they sleep with each other on the beach.
And the irony of this is he explains, like, this is part of Japanese storytelling, that nudity is a part of that. And this guy is so contrite, it is insane.
They probably get crabs up their ass, too.
Yep, there we go, cheaping it, Phil.
Yeah, I was attracted to video game characters. Now I don't care anymore.
I don't think you're attracted to anything, Phil. I think you're a deeply miserable son of a bitch. No shade on Phil's mother at all, but I think you're a deeply miserable piece of shit. And you want everybody to know it.
Like I said, I am married. I don't look for attraction to a video game character. That's fucking lame. I think people
It's
don't
fucking
like Final
lame.
Fantasy VII, unfortunately, because you have a stigma to JRPGs. Every time you play one, you point out things about Japanese culture you dislike or you demean otaku culture. It's a turnoff. I can tell when the beach segment of Final Fantasy VII happens, you'll make fun of people for enjoying it.
Yeah, and look at this deeply bitter, pissed off, boring individual. That he's now wearing a Karen cardigan to emphasize this point that he's a deeply bitter old person.
So you listen to negative memes about me, and you actually judge a playthrough that just began on a negative meme that hasn't even happened in the playthrough yet.
Yes, because these negative memes often predict what you are going to behave like, Phil, and you did go on and complain about this scene at length because it offended you that much, so to speak.
That's what you're saying. You're literally saying, well, because Final Fantasy VII is going to have one beach scene out of a 60-plus hour playthrough, and because of that one scene, he may make a comment that this is kind of immature, that this is in the game, the entire playthrough sucks. What the fuck is wrong with people like that? No, real.
No. What the hell is wrong with you? He predicted what you were going to do, Phil, and you immediately proved his prediction right.
Really, I have to ask you this question. What is wrong with you? This is a 60-hour game with tons of gameplay elements, awesome narrative, great combat right now that I'm actually getting better at and learning. I learned something at the end.
Then what are you complaining about? What's the point? Clearly this got under your skin and now you're going to have a bitch fit over it. And you're going to like try and say like, oh, this guy's wrong because he is like an idiot.
The last stream last night, I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know, tons of content that I'm loving. Absolutely loving the game. I told you, actually, this is stacking up to be a great game. Maybe one of my Game of the Year picks, I'm thinking, right? But the playthrough sucks because there's going to be a beach scene where I'm going to make a comment that I don't like that everyone's in bikinis. What the fuck are you talking about? That makes
No, they understand you well, Phil. They've seen you do this so many times before.
no sense whatsoever. Listen, be immature, say what you want. I don't have to participate in that kind of commentary or whatever. I don't.
Yeah, and we know you're not, because you're a deeply boring person now. Because all you are is terror. You are terrified of, like, what could happen if you were to act like a dickhead again. In the way you did before. You act like a dickhead now. And obviously that's losing you revenue and so-called viewers. An audience, as it were. But for some reason, you seem to believe that this course you are now on is so much better than what you did before. In fact, if anything, it's probably worse. Because at least your stupidity was actually friggin' amusing. To some degree.
And that's fine. But I'm not going to say... Do you really think that when that scene comes up, we're just going to pause the playthrough and I'm going to go on a 2-hour rant about how horrible it is that scene's in the game?
You very nearly did, Phil.
No, it's a Japanese game. It's part of their culture. They like that kind of silly stuff. In fact, what a lot of people don't realize about this, and when they have scenes with like, oh, there's risque clothing...
The irony of this explanation is absolute peak.
...or a sexual reference. They actually find that comedic. They don't find that like, oh, it's perverted. They think of it as comedy. Like, sexual content is part of Japanese comedy, correct? They'll have that in there to get a laugh.
Then why do you have a problem with it? Wouldn't you just have accepted it as like a part of that and just moved on with your life? But no, you have to complain about it. And so therefore, that viewer of yours made that point.
So that scene to Japanese people is funny. Haha, look, I like, just because I might not want to partake in a scene like that.
Look, check in the chat.
I'm 30-some years old, and I'm happily married, and I don't look for that in video games.
I don't think you are happily married at all, Phil. Like the look on your face that you have almost every time you stream is one of bitterness, jealousy, and just outright misery. I think you deeply hate your life.
Because I'm past that point in my life doesn't mean the playthrough sucks. It's literally one scene. It's going to last, what, 2 minutes? Out of a 60-hour playthrough. The fact that you even said that in the tip is remarkable.
It in fact lasts, I think, about 25 minutes, maybe more. Because the story element has to play out, and you're not going to tell a story in like 2 minutes, Phil. Not like that, anyway.
I mean, wow. Anyone who has that mindset, you got to reevaluate yourself. If you think that someone's...
You got to reevaluate yourself, Phil. You have some deep-seated friggin' issues.
Playthrough of a video game sucks because there was one optional silly joke scene added in by the Japanese game devs, and a person may... It didn't even happen yet.
It wasn't just one scene, Phil. It was like a sequence of scenes that made out a story.
Person may say something like, oh, this is silly, why is this in there? Like, what are you talking about? What the fuck view is this?
Interesting that he rage quit.
Oh my god.
And here we have this same man who made that point sitting there in a cowboy hat and an orange vest as part of a ridiculous like story that went on with this absolute animal complaining about a woman in a catsuit.
Supposed to be Black Widow.
Oh my god, it's like Black Widow. How shocking.
Rip off of fucking Marvel's Black Widow. Ridiculous. Over the top nonsense. It really is. Oh, look, it's Black Widow only naked. Oh, yeah.
Black Widow only naked. Alright. She has deep cleavage revealed, part of her arms revealed, obviously her face and her head. I don't think she's naked, Phil. I mean, you're an idiot.
I will be plain. I want to taste you. Perhaps tonight. Perhaps later.
It's like,
But I want it all the same.
why is she so fucking
Do
weird?
you?
Listen, who wrote this dialogue? Who wrote this fucking dialogue? This is written by like a fucking 15-year-old. No.
I would agree the dialogue is kind of stilted and bizarre, and it doesn't feel natural. Because, I don't think anyone naturally talks to each other like that. I want to taste you. I don't think they do that in general. This is where the fantasy comes in, obviously, but the fact that Phil is complaining even about this is bizarre. It's like, bro, just let the scene play out, have a bit of a chuckle at it, and then, like, move on with your life. But, of course, you can't do that.
No.
As I fear.
No.
See, like, everybody mogs on him for being, like, so fucking pitiful. And then he has to prove he's, like, such a gloriously amazing person. An amazing man, apparently. He's like, I'm such an alpha male. It's like, when clearly he isn't.
This is the problem. The dialogue's terrible. Like, you really think that's how she would have reacted? Someone just said,
I don't know.
I'm a nerd. Or, excuse me,
But
I'm a prude.
I don't think
No, I'm not a
people
prude,
normally
I'm just
do
not a
that.
horny nerd.
No, people don't normally speak to each other like that, but in a fantasy situation, obviously anything's possible, and anything can go, but Phil, of course, he doesn't understand fantasy at all, and he obviously doesn't understand how people's fantasies, sexual or otherwise, work, and so, because, honestly, because Phil is just a joyless, like, just uninventive, uncreative soul. There is nothing to this guy.
You understand? Like, I actually get laid by my wife. I don't need to have horny nerd.
I don't believe you do, Phil. At all. I don't believe you get laid.
Fake romance in this game.
Splat.
Her boobs are sagging. What? What are you talking about? Her boobs are sagging. You're that critical of the scene that I just started making. You're gonna tell me her boobs are sagging.
And this is Phil, back in the day, when he was still with Panda Lee, and Panda Lee obviously had her own ideas about what should be, or maybe what is, I don't know, but yeah, it's like Phil obviously was probably deeply unnerved by somebody like Panda Lee, because she had so much, I guess, sort of lust for life in her, and he didn't.
What the hell? It's me. What does that have to do with me? I'm not gonna be with that. It's not real. What are you talking about? So we're gonna have to.
And because Panda at the time was quite an immature person, I think that sort of like played off against Phil rather in the worst way, because he obviously was also immature at the time. And, you know, it just, coming from like a guy like Phil, it comes off as weird. And so basically these two were just the worst thing for each other.
To go underwear. What the hell is that? I don't even want to know what she's doing. Look at that.
That meme was actually obviously the saxophone guy, or the what's it called, the epic sax guy meme from I think it was about 10 years ago, actually. Yeah, if you know what the meme is, you probably know what the character was doing on the game there. But yeah, it was a meme a while back, and clearly Saints Row, which I think this was Saints Row 3, They put it in there obviously because they understood all the memes and they knew what they were talking about, and so basically they knew their audience. And obviously Saints Row 3 was actually not a bad game. I would have honestly preferred to have played like Saints Row 2 because it was actually more peak of a game, really.
What does she do afterwards?
Okay with me.
Like, there's so many. Oh yes. Oh, that one. I'm doing that one. The Pillow Princess. Oh.
Oh, what a stud! I can't get enough.
And it was obviously like a excellent choice here on Mighty D's part to show exactly the massive contradiction and dichotomy of opinions between Phil back then and Phil now. Just to show just kind of like what a joyless individual he is now.
What? A killer fridge that fucks disgusting. Great.
Don't let her bind your arms.
No shit, she's gonna kill you.
Can't you see I'm trying? Open to suggestions.
Bring me to her sensor manipulator. Quick.
How titillating. Rebellious dogmen really turn me on.
Turn you on, all right? Just let me.
This is disturbing shit.
I love tough guys. I'm on fire.
Closer. I can't reach her.
Kill a stupid thing.
I'm trying. She's one strong ass bitch.
I'm at your service, sugar. Anything
What are we doing? I can't do anything right now. Look, I'm not actually doing anything. What the fuck? So we overcame the dirty talking fridge, and now we can our upgrades.
Clearly Phil is jealous. He is very jealous of what is going on here.
What?
So that's why he's deeply offended by this. He's jealous of what he doesn't have. So like clearly like early on in his life he probably didn't get any access to any of that when he was younger, and so it has not changed. He's had girlfriends, yes, and obviously he's married now, but I don't think he gets any of that either way.
I'm so what? Okay. Anyway.
Oh, how can I resist?
Oh my
now
god,
let
this
me
stupid
show
thing.
you what I
Can we tell him to
do.
shut the fuck up?
Professionally, I mean.
I've seen
Upgrades?
it. Literally. Crisp critters.
I am here to help you upgrade your red-hot pocket rockets. And believe me, handsome.
Oh my god, can we shut this thing the fuck up? It's obnoxiously bad.
Phil, just turn off the sound. Turn off voice for a few minutes while you do the weapon upgrades, and then turn it back on when you're done.
Shut up.
Corresponding window, Major.
Get rid of that glove, handsome. You don't need him anymore.
I can't even
now that
concentrate. I literally can't concentrate on what I'm doing. Because it won't shut the fuck up.
You want? Got a sword?
Phil, just grow a backbone and deal with the problem.
A massive sword? Thrust it deep into my socket so I can make it sturdier and sharper.
No.
I like how he has no care for his audience in general whatsoever. So he doesn't turn off like the voice for the game, but he just turns it off on his like little toilet seat that he wears around his neck.
Okay, so now we can concentrate. So let's see here. I'm just waiting for it to shut up so I don't have to hear it. I couldn't take it. I actually wanted to punch my fucking console for a second there.
Yeah, you're such a tough guy, Phil. Wanting to punch your console for fucking offending you, apparently.
So, did it show up? It's still talking. Once it shuts up, I'll actually check this out again. Broseph, thanks for the super chat. No, the audio was not explaining anything. The audio was being fucking stupid, disgusting, and very distracting, and I hated it. That's why I turned it off, because I couldn't even fucking take it.
And of course his audience disagrees with him.
I don't know why they did that. A bunch of fucking idiots to put that shit in the game. Alright, thank God we survived that nonsense. Hopefully not everyone fucking...
Oh, wow. Phil is just so hard done by that he's surviving playing these games.
Just talking like that, I'll just fucking delete the game. I can't take that shit. That actually drives me nuts. I couldn't believe it.
See, this is how you know Phil's life is so damn cushy that he can't tolerate voice acting in a game that it actually deeply annoys him. And well, this is the end of the video, and Phil acted like an idiot for literally 13 minutes. And yeah, that's it.
So, hint. So, hint.
And of course that's the end of the video, and I definitely had a lot to say about this guy. This video is going to top out to like 42 minutes nearly, and yeah, well, this is your Lord God Octopus, Shadow Octopus990, saying goodbye, and that's it.